Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming to our webinar. I'm Cathy Campagna, and we have Kristel. Say hey, Kristel.
Hi.
We just want to say thanks to you guys for coming on and taking the time to hear our story. We're really excited to share with you guys. We've been working together for, I think it's a little over 3 years now, right, Kristel?
Yeah.
Time flies. Yeah, so we've just been having a blast with what we do, and we wanted to share a little bit of our story with Juice Plus, kind of how we got started, and also why we're so passionate about sharing, and just also, getting together with friends and having a good time and making a difference. So we're just going to get to it, and then maybe we'll have some dialogue at the end. And I'll just start with my story. I started with Juice Plus 13 years ago. When my husband Rick actually was the one who got started with Juice Plus. He was 50 years old at the time, and actually we thought he was pretty healthy. I mean, he looked physically fit, and we thought, we were doing all the right things. We were eating our canned green beans, canned corn, iceberg lettuce, and thought that was enough, right? Just because that's the way we were raised. We were raised on TV dinners and just kind of quick fast food. But so, anyways, when he turned 50, it was right about that time when body scans were really popular, and so for his 50th birthday, I said, hey, this would be really cool. We should go get these body scans done. I just thought that was kind of neat. So we went and had body scans done, and his came back showing that he had some issues with his heart. And they recommended he follow up with a cardiologist, so he did. And the cardiologist decided to do what they call a nuclear dye stress test. And they inject dye in your system, they put you on a treadmill, see how you do, at work, and then they take some images at rest. And he did great. He, again, he's physically fit, right? So he's on the treadmill, kicking butt, doing great. And when they put him in the tube to take the images of his heart at rest, he ended up having a massive heart attack. And needless to say, that was kind of the changing point in our lives of what we thought was important and what was not important. And I get a call, Rick's having a little trouble. We're going to take him over to the ER. And literally where he was at, the facility he was at was right across the street from the hospital in Orange County. And as I got there, they were pulling him out of the ambulance. And my husband and I, we'd been married, I think, like 15 years at that time. And I had never seen him cry other than the day his mom died. And, he just looked at me with tears in his eyes and said, go get the kids. Like he knew. And he actually had 100% blockage. And I almost lost him. I was looking at being a widow and raising my, my two kids, and we were devastated. And by the grace of God and intervention, he survived that first heart attack. And he ended up having 3 more massive heart attacks within like a very short window of time, like 6 to 9 months. And we ended up selling our house, moving next to the hospital. That's how dire his situation was. So, our introduction to Juice Plus was, I believe, a godsend. I tease him. I was like, you have some serious guardian angels out there to have survived, 4 heart attacks, and every one of them happened either at the hospital or across the street from the hospital. And then to, be introduced to Juice Plus, a dear friend of ours up in Oregon was taking Juice Plus and having really good results with some health issues he was having. And he just called Rick and he's like, you know what, you just got to try this stuff. It's just fruits and vegetables in a capsule. I know your diet. Rick traveled a lot. He ate fast food a lot because it just, because he was on the road all the time. And then when we were home, now in retrospect, we weren't eating much better. So it made sense to him. He got on board right away. He's been faithful ever since. He does a double dose of Juice Plus. I mean, it's just fruits, veggies, and berries in a capsule. It's not complicated. So for him, it made sense. But for some reason, I decided to complicate it. And, I was doing all my research. And, I was raised in a medical environment. My mom was an ER nurse. So I'm all science-based. That's just kind of my thing. I love research. I'm very skeptical by nature anyhow. So, I'm kind of reading about Juice Plus, what it is. I thought it was, just another pill. I thought it was a vitamin. And so I just wasn't buying into it. But at the time, they still do. We have amazing shakes called Complete. And I had my own loan business at the time, was really very busy with that, wasn't looking for a job, another income stream, anything. But I love those shakes. So, I would drink the shakes in the morning because otherwise I wouldn't even eat breakfast. I'm just not a breakfast eater. So I would do my shakes in the morning and, was kind of learning a little bit more about the Juice Plus side of it, those fruits and veggies and berries. And during that time, as I'm looking at some of the studies on Juice Plus, I lost my dad to a massive heart attack. And, he was 58 years old when he died. And I was devastated. You know, he was my only parent surviving, and I was an only child, so he was my only family. And I realized, you know, looking at all this science on Juice Plus, and at that time, I think there were like 2 or 3 heart studies alone. Besides all the other studies, there was probably like 15 to 18 studies at the time. Now we're, you know, we just hit 35 actually. Is, you know, gosh, here's something that Rick was taking, having great health benefits from. And I was so skeptical, I didn't even share it with, you know, the person other than my husband and my kids that I love the most, you know. So sharing Juice Plus kind of came sort of, you know, naturally that way, as a part of almost feeling guilty, you know, knowing that, you know, there's people out there that I love and care about that I need to share this opportunity with, you know, of whole food nutrition. We're not getting it. You know, it's difficult for any of us to get, you know, the recommended servings of fruits and vegetables every day, and all these health consequences that come over time. You know, Rick didn't just get heart disease. You know, it happened over time. And same with my dad. We didn't even know he had heart disease. So, you know, and he died instantly, and he died an hour after eating a fast food meal, which I won't name, but you guys can probably imagine. But, you know, one of the studies on Juice Plus was what happens to the arteries after a high-fat meal, and they actually used the same meal that my dad just had died from. So, you know, I was on a mission to save all the daddies. I called all my girlfriends, like, we got to get your dad on this stuff, you know, at least, you know, have him check it out. And I wasn't looking to do the business still, you know, still skeptical about that side of it, but I knew that people needed whole food nutrition, and this was such an easy way, backed by science. So the business side, it was just kind of funny because I had one of my girlfriends to say, well, you know, I want to do what you're doing. I want to be a part of your mission to save all the daddies, you know? So I'm like, well, I don't know what I'm doing, but come along. We'll have a good time. We'll figure it out. And, you know, so it's been 13 years since this journey started with Juice Plus, and I'm just as passionate about, you know, our mission side as I am the product now, because I've seen the changes not only health-wise, but also financially and mission-wise. You know, some people come into what we do out of a need for finances. Some come in out of a need to be a part of something, or a part of, you know, a family, you know. So it's been really, really neat to meet a lot of really cool people, and to now, you know, have an international team and making a difference around the world, helping people. And, you know, looking at, for Rick and I, you know, what this business has allowed us to do. I just recently reached the top position of the company, national marketing director. And I would have never dreamed that, right? Back in the beginning when I was so skeptical, I was not going to do this business. But now, you know, I'm at this position now where, you know, we have a full medical corporate benefit package. It's beautiful. We're the only direct sale company that offers that. And, you know, to have that financial security, so that hopefully, you know, soon my husband can retire from that stressful job that he has, and we can live out our lives doing the things that we want to do, and have the financial resources and the time freedom to be able to do that, because we do our Juice Plus while we live life. It's not like a job that I have to go to 9 to 5, and, you know, I just do it as I live my life. And I'm really excited to introduce Kristel, so she's going to share her story. But you know, we just met, you know, I believe, you know, God's intervention, you know, at a vendor event where I was sharing Juice Plus. So I'm really excited for Kristel to share her story. And, you know, she's a stay-at-home mom with a baby on the way, and she's just an amazing gift to, you know, to our family and to our friends and team. So Kristel, share how we met.
Okay. Well, hi everybody again, and thank you, Cathy. I love hearing your story, and I was just sharing my story the other day, and how I got introduced, and obviously it will always forever include you. And it was just so cool how it seemed like such a random act, but now being where I'm at today, it feels like such a divine happening. So like Cathy said, I met her, it was about 3 years ago, I think, at my oldest daughter's school. And rewinding from there, because I was actually on the product for 2 years prior to that. So the way I got introduced to Juice Plus was I was at my sister-in-law's gym, and she had like this open house, and there was a company there where they scan your hands and test your antioxidant levels, which at the time I didn't know what an antioxidant was. I did know, I've heard of it, for it keeps wrinkles away, but that was probably about it. And so at the time I was 24, I was pregnant with my second daughter, so I was healthy in my mind. And so being the competitor that I am, I'm like, sign me up, let me scan my hand, I'm going to blow your guys' tests out of the water, I don't need your vitamins and all that. So I did the test and I scored terribly bad. And so for me, it was like a wake up call. It was the first time I ever was faced with, well, what the heck is health? Because for me, like I said, I thought healthy meant you're young, you're healthy, then you get old, you get sick, and you die. And that's just the cycle of life. And we can't really control it. It is whatever, our bodies are going to pick up along the way. And so there was a girl that was floating around that she scored really high on the test, and I was younger than her, so I was even more like outbeat at that moment, like what the heck is she doing that I'm not? And so I asked her, what are you eating, what are you drinking, what do you do? And she's like, I eat pretty regular. I'm like, so you eat pizza and In-N-Out every day like me? And she laughed, and she's like, no, but I don't eat like kale salads all day. I eat pretty regular, like American diet. So she's like, but I do take juice. It took her a while to kind of put her finger on, maybe it was the Juice Plus. She's like, I do get a lot of fruits and vegetables from that. And I'm like, well, what is it? And she said, I don't know, call my mom, here's her card. So I ordered and didn't ask another question. That was enough for me. Kind of like Cathy said, at that time, my husband was an athlete, and I wasn't cooking, so we were eating out every single meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And sadly enough, breakfast on the way to him going to put his body through all this physical stress, he was eating McDonald's. And I guess I don't have to mention names, but that's what he was eating. And just to say, that's it's one of those things where it's not the worst thing, I guess, that you could eat. I don't know, but it doesn't have the nutrition, doesn't have the antioxidants that my body was lacking. And then if I did ever cook, it was canned corn, canned green beans, or over-steamed broccoli. And when we were going out, we're carbs, so it was sandwiches, pastas. So when I look back, knowing what I know now, it totally makes sense why even at 24 I had no antioxidants in my body. I was barely getting any fruits and vegetables. And excuse me. Okay, sorry. A prenatal is not going to help. That's not an antioxidant. So anyways, I'm getting a little long-winded there, but basically I love to share that part of my story, because now today, almost 5 years later, I'm so passionate about sharing Juice Plus with people, and everyone thinks I'm just this nutrition freak, like I'm into kale and juicing and all that. And it's not that. It's just I was awakened to the reality that if I know that as much as I do like fruits and vegetables, I just wasn't getting them, I can't be the only one out there. So I took Juice Plus because I was pregnant. I went to my next Juice Plus lobby, and like the little poster in, I'm like, oh my gosh, I never even noticed this. And she's like, yes, you should definitely be taking it. And so she was happy that I had ordered it. And so that really reinforced for me that, I never did any research, because I just was like, my doctor said I could take it. It's safe while pregnant, and nursing, she's recommending it. So that was like history for me. And then fast forward 2 years later, and now I've kind of added this joke, because when I think back, now that I'm on the business side, and I know people are always like, don't like, talking about their auto ships, like backing up because they're not taking it. I was just letting it ship because my husband was there. Or he was my boyfriend at the time. I used his card when I ordered. So I was laugh, like I wasn't even paying attention, but I wasn't taking it faithfully until I met Cathy. And that was when she had her Juice Plus table. And I went up to her by association, and I was like, oh my gosh, I take this. And I was exposed to now the Vineyard blend, which is the purple, and I was only on the red and green, and then the shakes and the Tower Garden. And it was godsend. I mean, we had just moved in our house. It's all concrete in the backyard. I always wanted a garden, and I kind of had just, chalked it up that I wasn't going to get a garden in my house. So I'm like, okay. And when I saw this Tower Garden where I can grow with no dirt, very little space, very little maintenance, because I don't even know if I would have been able to maintain a real garden. Well, not that the tower is not real, but like a traditional garden. So it was just, I wanted everything. And Cathy told me, well, why don't you pay the $50? It's like a membership fee, and order from yourself so you get a little bit of a discount. And I'm like, no, I don't want to sell your stuff. Like you're good at that. I'm not. Like, that's okay. And so she's like, no, there's no quotas, no inventory. Like literally you just order from yourself instead of from me. The company's gonna pay somebody. So I'm like, okay, I could do that. So I did. I got a cool little check from just my own order, and that was enough for me. There was in fact no quotas, no pressure, nothing. And a few months went by, and then she had that was, I think, December, and then in February she had a heart health event, and she had invited me, and so she lived pretty close. So I'm like, let me just go and check this out, see what it's all about. And so I went, and my life has never been the same. I think there's a huge difference, and this is why I'm so passionate about educating people, and especially customers who I have on the product, because I know what it feels like to order Juice Plus for 2 years and not take it faithfully, and when I do take it, not appreciate the power of what it's doing in my body. And so when I went to that event at her house, um, I was just blown away by statistics like I think it was like 1 in 3 people will be diabetic by 2050, and watching my grandfather not only live a low quality life with diabetes, but then eventually pass away from it. The cancer rates are rising. I didn't know that heart disease was the leading killer of women. I thought that was a man's disease, and every now and then women died of a heart attack. I had no idea that more women than men die from it, but it is the leading killer of us. And so those things just really startled me again. And then I saw her experiment, which I already mentioned McDonald's. So it was her McDonald's hamburger that was 5 years old. And it's so funny because back then I didn't know her. I knew she had a granddaughter. So I'm like, that's kind of like, I'm not judging, but it's funny that she left her McDonald's out on the table when she's doing a health event. She could have like thrown it away or moved it. And that's how like it still looked intact. Like I thought it was her granddaughter's like lunch or her Happy Meal. And so later, as she gets into her presentation, she explained to us that it was 5 years old, and I was blown away. I mean, nowadays when I share that, more times than not, people have seen it by now. But back then, we ate McDonald's all the time, and it just never occurred to me that I heard the stat or the quote from a doctor: food that dies will keep you alive, and food that doesn't die will kill you. And I realized no wonder we're dying, because we're eating so much of this junk that is not dying. It's preserved to the maximum, and it's okay to enjoy things. I don't think I'll ever give up certain foods that I know that are bad for me. But what Juice Plus has served for me is definitely a catalyst. I'm more aware. I've cut things out that I do know, are non-negotiable in my diet now. And I don't know, that's just kind of where I'm at. And just a little bit on the business side, I was just like Cathy. You heard my story. No, I'm not a salesperson. Don't expect anything from me. And we still laugh about that now, because now I can't tell enough people about it, because it just, the more when you know better, you want to do better. And I just think it's not fair for me to know what I know and not share it with everybody that I love and care about. And now seeing the benefits of the business, and seeing the benefits of how I shared it with one friend or family member, and then they shared it with someone, and it trickled down to people that I don't even know. It really opened my mind to the possibilities that this business has, is of really being able to impact many, many lives without even knowing that you're doing that. So it was a slow transition for me to wrap my arms around treating this like a real profession. But now my theory is, and my why, like why I do this, is if I'm gonna wake up, because as a stay-at-home mom, I was struggling with, I always wanted to work. I wanted to dress up, go to an office, have a job. And I almost did go get a job. My husband was like, please don't. Like, you're not going to want to wake up and work for somebody if you don't have to. And so I've learned to embrace that as a blessing. I know I'm very fortunate to not have to go to work, but I still have that yearning inside of me. We're all different. That's just part of how I am. And so what my theory became was, if I'm going to wake up and go and put hours into something, I would much rather those hours be benefiting somebody's health and have people calling me and saying, oh my gosh, I have more energy, or I'm playing with my kids again, or I'm coming off of, this and that medication because I'm eating better and my body is getting healthier, or, my cravings are changing, or my kids are not as picky anymore, or I'm going to sleep better at night, that my kids are getting something in their diet that's not just junk. And the list goes on of what we experience by sharing Juice Plus with people. So for me, it's like, okay, go and sit in an office, and I'm not knocking anybody's job. This is me. Go sit in an office and work to make someone else rich and not really have a purpose outside of just going to work, clocking in, clocking out, and getting a paycheck. Or work when I want to work, look like this if I want to, because I'm about to do yoga, and have a huge impact on many lives. And that's just why I chose to treat it like a profession, because I wanted to do something where I was buttoned up and I could be a businesswoman, but I love having that control. So that's kind of my biggest why I do what I do. It's just a win-win. Like Cathy said, it's like you do become just as passionate for the product as you do the mission, just because it's just, I don't know which one is better. They're both amazing. And I love watching Cathy step into NMD and making it even more real for me to be able to see that I can get full benefits for my family. My husband is a business owner, so we are going to be paying into benefits. So I can't wait for the day to say, I got us, like, you pay our bills, but I've got the benefits for our family. I can't wait to be able to do that. So anyways, I'm going to just stop there because I could talk about how much I love everything about, Juice Plus. Really quick, because I always forget to share what it's done for me. And I think it's just a mental peace of mind that my body is going to thank me 20, 30 years from now because of what I'm doing today. And I'm so passionate about sharing it with my age group because I feel like we still have time to take control and reverse things. And that's the problem, is I'm trying to shake people and wake them up to say, don't wait until you get that diagnosis. Don't wait until you're older. I'll do it later. Take care of it now. And I just heard this message yesterday. They said, you can't catch health, but you can catch disease. And what they were trying to get at was, you have to work towards being healthy. You have to make changes and sacrifices, but that's much better to control your health and keep it than to catch a disease, which you can control by what you put in your body. So, for me, it's just been a huge peace of mind that every single day I'm bridging that gap of what I know I should be eating and what I'm not. Even while pregnant, I don't get enough fruits and vegetables, unless I'm drinking a $9 juice from somewhere. So this is just my everyday foundation. So I'll stop there and see if Cathy wants to add anything before we.
That's awesome, Kristel. It is fun to go back and hear each other's stories. We just kind of take it for granted now because it's just part of what we do every day, right? Yeah. So cool. And yeah, just remembering, when I met you at that vendor event and you're just like, yeah, well, no, I don't eat that. Oh, and the bars, our bars were so good. And you were like sampling everything. You're like, I need that. I need this. I need this. So yeah, and you were telling me you weren't eating, and I was really concerned because you're having babies and you need to take care of your body. So, and that's a good point. You be brought up because are you 30? How old are you? Almost. I know it's coming up. So, I know. So Kristel and I, it's kind of funny because I just turned. Well, I'm 51 now. But I had that kind of that epiphany moment as hitting my 50s, like, oh my gosh, I'm going down the other slope of the hill. And I made a decision when I turned 50 that I was going to be the healthiest at 50 that I've ever been. And I've been taking Juice Plus for a long time. And like you said, it is a catalyst for change. And, I have made changes. So it's a good point that you brought up is, to share kind of, how it's affected me. Obviously it's affected Rick. He's doing great. His heart health and his diabetes, everything's like doing wonderful. But for me, I'm a grandma. And trying to think, you're almost in your 30s and, having families and just getting started. Where will you be 20 years from now? Where will you be when you're my age? I mean, that's so cool for me to think about, like I've impacted your health and the health of your children. I mean, that's so rewarding to me, even if nobody else ever, got started with Juice Plus, knowing that, you and I together have made a difference, and Jason, made a difference in these lives of these beautiful girls. And, they're going to go on and, have their families, and we've changed that DNA makeup. That's so cool.
Yeah.
But I want to encourage those that are, maybe not in your age group, but more in my age group, that it's never too late. It's never too late to make a change. And Juice Plus is such an easy thing to do. You take 6 little capsules a day, boom, done. And then you go and you try to make other, what we call one simple changes, make other little simple changes, drinking more water, eating a little cleaner, maybe going for a walk. So, I made that commitment to myself that in my 50s, I am going to be healthier than I was in my 40s. And it's been pretty cool to see how those changes have compounded over time. I didn't just go like crazy and just say I'm going to be a vegan overnight and clear out all my cupboards and start running marathons. It's been a slow change, like you said, Crystal. It's like you don't get disease overnight and you don't get healthy overnight. So you got to be consistent. It's not a magic pill. Some people will get on Juice Plus. Well, I want to just try it and see how I feel. You don't feel prevention. Some people do feel like you and I, like we have more energy. We just we feel better, more clear headed. Have the energy to do the things we want to do. But when you're already healthy and you take Juice Plus, you may not see those things that you are preventing. So for me, that was kind of a shift in thinking, because Rick was the sick one. He was the one that needed Juice Plus, right? And that's where I think I had a little bit of a hard time realizing that I needed to take Juice Plus for the prevention side of things. I have diabetes in my family. My birth mom died from complications from her diabetes. So, and I have cancer, so in the family. So there's all these bad genes out there, but we have control over that. I think it's Dr. Sears that says that 75% of diseases are preventable by diet and lifestyle. So that gives me a lot of hope, knowing, now that I'm in my 50s, that I can be healthier now than I've ever been. So I just want to encourage people that, make a change, make us, if you can just, the only thing you do is just start with Juice Plus, start there, let that be the catalyst for you moving forward. Have a good foundation to build these changes on. And like Crystal said, if you're in your 20s and 30s, start now. Start now. Don't wait. Don't wait for that diagnosis, because sometimes, you might be in a situation like my dad. You may not pull out of that. And the disease doesn't just happen to you. It happens to the family. Watching what my kids had to go through, seeing their dad be sick and almost losing their dad. He's the hero, right? Daddies are the hero. And to look at, maybe losing their dad and watching them struggle with that. And, and for me, having to deal with, every night making sure my husband was still breathing at night, those things are real. And I'm so grateful that he was open and said yes, because I don't know where our lives would have been. So I'm just going to encourage, anybody who's watching this webinar, get with me or Crystal or your favorite Juice Plus rep out there and find out, get some information, just get educated about it and take the time, just be open. So we just want to thank you for coming on today, and, get with us if you have any questions, and go out and seize the day.
Yay. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you,
Bye.
Cathy.